Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, dear devotees. So let's start with Kirtan.
हरे कृष्णा माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा माता जी।
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you all so much for joining. So let us continue our reading. We are on chapter 23, which started yesterday. A very beautiful chapter. The title is Life's Ultimate Goal, Love of Godhead. Very, very important chapter. Very beautiful verses and lot of learning for all of us. So let's get started. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. So let's start. We had read till verse 16 yesterday. So we start with 23.17 now. It's talking about the symptoms of devotional service, how they are visible in the activities of the devotees. Okay. So let's start. Sumati Mataji. Yeah, please read. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. याहार हृदये ए भावान पुरा हया ताहाते एते काचिहा सर्वशास्त्रे कया. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If one actually has the seed of transcendental emotion in his heart, the symptoms will be visible in his activities. That is the verdict of all revealed scriptures. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this verse is telling us that if there are devotees who have love for Krishna, the seed of transcendental emotion in their hearts, then it's obvious that in their external behavior also, in their different activities, in their speech, in their behavior, those symptoms will be visible. Now, what are those symptoms that we are going to read in the next verse? But this verse is telling us that the symptoms will be visible in the activities of the devotees. And who is saying that? The revealed scriptures are saying that. So this is the verdict of all revealed scriptures, that when one has that devotion in one's heart, then the activities will show that devotion. Okay, it will come out. So now let's go to the next verse. 18 and 19 are together. Chandana Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. शांतिर अव्यर्थकालत्वं विरक्तिर्मानशून्यता आशाबन्धः समुत्कण्ठा नामगाने सदा रुचिः आसक्तिस्तद्गुणाख्याने प्रीतिस्तद्वसति स्थले इत्याद्योऽनुभवा भावाहस्युर्जात भावान् पुरे जने. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the seed of ecstatic emotions from Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior: forgiveness, concern that time should not be wasted, detachment, absence of false prestige, hope, eagerness, a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord, attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides, that is, a temple or a holy place like Vrindavana. These are all called... Sorry, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, go on.
That is a temple or a holy place like Vrindavana. These are all called Anubhava, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotions. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. Purport: these 2 verses are found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3, 25, 26. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So these characteristics are very, very important for us to know and understand, because when one has Bhav Bhakti, see, these verses are all going to talk about Bhav Bhakti. Till 38, it's about Bhav Bhakti, and after 38, that from 39 onwards, it's about Prema. So we'll try to cover till 38 today. Now, in Bhav Bhakti stage, there is ecstatic love, that is developing in the devotee's heart. And the devotee in this stage has a very soft heart. Okay, devotees in general have a very soft heart. They're very kind. They're very concerned about the well-being of others, very much pained to see the suffering of others. But in this stage, especially Bhav Bhakti, there is a very soft heart that the devotee has. So therefore, in this stage, some symptoms that we'll see in a devotee are coming because of very strong emotion that the devotee is experiencing. So we'll see crying, shivering, these kind of symptoms will also come in the external body of the devotee. Now, the only thing with these two symptoms, that is shivering or crying, is that these can easily be imitated by someone. Okay, so that's why we see many sahajiyas who will, immediately as soon as kirtan starts, they will start crying or they'll start rolling on the ground. A lot of these things happen, and they'll show shivering and all these things. But these can be easily imitated, and these can also be concealed. So the very advanced devotees who are actually feeling these symptoms can conceal their crying. So actually, we see that very pure devotees, they don't show this kind of crying all the time, or rolling on the ground or shivering. They don't show these emotions in public. This is something that is very, very personal for them. So that's the thing, the shivering, crying, etc. These symptoms can be concealed, and these can be imitated also. So then what happens? How do we know? How do we distinguish? It's through these 9 characteristics. So Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned these in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu in these 2 verses. And these 9 character traits are such that these cannot be imitated or concealed. So as we go through each of these, we'll see that when someone has these characteristic traits, they cannot hide it. It's very, apparent. And also these character traits are very deep rooted in the heart. So they cannot be imitated also by the common people, by the sahajiyas. And therefore, these 9 symptoms clearly indicate bhav bhakti. So we can be sure that if there is a devotee who has these 9 symptoms, then they are in the bhav bhakti stage. Okay. So here it is mentioned that when the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior. So these are all behavioral traits. These are not external traits, but they show in the behavior. And we know that, behavior is something that, okay, maybe till some point we can imitate, but after a point we actually cannot. What is inside actually comes out. So the behavior, as it is said that there's so many things that we can say, but what actually creates an impact on the person who is with us is our behavior, not so much our speech. We teach more or we preach more by our behavior than by our words. So that's why behavior has a much important place. So the behavioral traits are forgiveness, concern that time should not be wasted, detachment, absence of false prestige, hope, eagerness, a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord, attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides. Now, these can be temple or holy places like Vrindavan or Navadvip, etc. These are all called Anubhava, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotion. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. So, this stage itself, where the seed of love of God is fructifying, it's a very advanced stage in itself, right? So, the 9 characteristics, let's try to discuss them in detail. There is avyartha kalavatam, utilization of time. In devotees who are in the bhav stage, we'll see that they are constantly engaged in devotional service. 24 hours a day, there is no time in their life for self gratification, right? So in the lives of great devotees, we'll see that they use their time very, 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 very carefully. And that is one lesson that we also can take, that time is very precious. And if we are very serious about advancing in Krishna consciousness, then we have to be very careful about how we are using our time. Is it that if we are taking Krishna consciousness as, okay, one part of our life, not so seriously, not so, carefully, then we'll be engaging in a lot of different unproductive activities during the day, and which is very, very risky because those activities can take us away from our consciousness. They can actually take away the pure consciousness that we develop by engaging in devotional activities. So devotees are very, very careful about utilization of time. And it is explained by devotees that if time represents Krishna, right? Or some devotees say that time is a servant of Krishna. If we give our time to Krishna, then what does Krishna give us? He gives us time in return. What does this mean? It means that if we are serious about our spiritual life and we give the precious hours of the morning time to our sadhana, then we can practically experience that that day will be very different from a day where we have not given our initial important time to Krishna. The Brahma Muhurat time, the morning hours, are the most important, most powerful time of the day. If we waste that time in sleeping or other unproductive activities, then our day will be very different. Our consciousness during that day will be very different. On the other hand, if we begin our day with chanting, arati, reading of scriptures, then what happens is that day Krishna will give us time. That means we'll feel that we have more time during that day for a lot of activities. Even our other responsibilities, we'll feel that the day which starts with Krishna conscious activities, the time somehow expands and we'll be able to achieve much more. We'll be much more productive during that day as compared to a day where we have not started our day with Krishna conscious activity. That's why we have to be very careful and we have to try to be very sincere and engage in Krishna conscious activities of chanting, arti, reading in the early morning hours, in the Brahma Muhurat hours. If we try to do this and make it a practice, we'll see that our days will be very, very Krishna conscious. It's like life goes on. There will be trials, there will be difficulties, and there will be so many things that we are fighting with on a daily basis, or so many things that are coming our way. But the early morning chanting, early morning sadhana acts like the medicine that we take, like now it's all very common, right, that we have to take these injections so that we are protected from various diseases. So that is what it's going to do. It's going to immunize us. It's going to make us stronger. Our consciousness will be stronger. And then when we face the world with all our activities during the day, then our consciousness will still remain with Krishna. It will not get diluted. That's why we see that in the life of devotees who have bhav bhakti, they are very careful about utilization of time. They don't waste time at all. Okay. Next is Shanti. Shanti means devotees at this stage are, they have a lot of perseverance and they are reserved. Reserved in the sense that they don't go and talk about unnecessary matters, and they are very peaceful. That's what Shanti is. This shows tolerance. So in Parikshit Maharaj's case, Srimad Bhagavatam 119:15 verse, we'll see this. Shanti is actually this Shanti and forgiveness are linked, because if we are not able to forgive someone, we are not going to be peaceful. So that is this symptom, Shanti or perseverance. Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed. He had made a mistake, but his mistake was not so big that the curse should have been that serious, right? But still, he did not retaliate. He was the king. He could have punished the Brahmana boy for giving this kind of, curse, or approached his father to reverse the curse. He could have done a lot of different things. But what did he do? He tolerated it. He forgave. He just thought that, okay, now this is how it is going to be. I have 7 days, so let me decide what I want to do, and let me go find out what I need to do. So that is Shanti, the second symptom. Then Virakti. Virakti is detachment, complete detachment from material attraction. And this we see in the life of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj had a very, he was not that old when he left his wife, his palace, and everything. But he left his palace, he left that materialistic life to go to the forest to engage more and more and completely in Krishna consciousness. So that was the detachment that we saw in the life of Bharat Maharaj. So that is Virakti, the third symptom. Then Manya Shunyata, that is absence of false prestige. There is complete pridelessness in the devotees because they understand their constitutional position as Krishna's eternal servant, and so they don't have even a tinge of pride in them. And this we see in the case of Bhagirath Maharaj, because he was a king, but because of his humility, he was taking a very, very humble position, and then he was able to bring Mother Ganga to earth. Then there is Asha Bandha. Asha Bandha means hope. The devotee is hoping against hope. They have a very humble position, and that is why they feel that by their qualification they cannot reach Krishna, but they still have the hope. They are certain that Krishna will bestow mercy on them. And this we see in Rupa Goswami's prayer, where he prays that the prospect of receiving the Lord's special mercy fills the Bhav Bhakta with great hope. Despite his own shortcomings, he will successfully attain perfection in Krishna consciousness. So now, when we read these prayers by various acharyas, they are taking a very humble position and they take a very menial position, and that is what they mention in their prayers, in their bhajans. Now, if they are actually feeling so low, then how are they still in ecstasy? That is a question that can come, right? When they are feeling that they have no good qualification, that they have wasted their life, that they are not taking Krishna consciousness seriously. If they actually feel like that, then how are they still so ecstatic? They are ecstatic not because of their dependence on their own qualification to get Krishna, but they are ecstatic because of their dependence on Krishna, because of their firm faith that Krishna's mercy will come, that Krishna is very, very merciful. So they are putting faith not on their own qualification, but on Krishna's merciful nature. And that is why the Bhav Bhakta devotees are always hopeful. Next is eagerness. Some samutkartha. Samutkartha means they have intense eagerness to achieve pure loving service for Krishna. Very, very strong urge, very, very strong eagerness. And this we read about in Bilva Mangal Thakur, Thakur's Krishna Karnamrit, where the eagerness of the devotee comes out. They are not able to tolerate the separation from Krishna, and then they are not able to tolerate the material world because of looking out for Krishna. They are so eager to get Krishna in their life that for them chanting, thinking of Krishna, all these things are happening very naturally. They don't have to force themselves to do these. Next is Namagane Sada Ruchi. That is a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord. They have intense attraction to chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So for them, it's not like they have to somehow finish the 16 rounds and then just keep the bead bag away for the day. And then I won't look at the bead bag for this entire day. No, their situation is very different. When 16 rounds are over also, they are not satisfied. They want to chant more and more and more. So they have very strong taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord. Next is asakti sadguna khyane. That means attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So in pure devotees, we'll see that they can just go on and on talking about Krishna, talking about the qualities of Krishna, the name, fame, quality, pastimes of Krishna. So for them, it's not like it is going to be time bound when they start talking about Krishna. Why? Because they have a very strong attachment to description of Krishna's leelas, Krishna's qualities. So in the material world also we see that if there is something that we like a lot, then we keep talking about that same thing. Or if there's a person that we like a lot, then we'll always want to talk about that person. We'll bring out topics even when it is not really directly related, and we'll talk about that person. Like a mother, mother will always want to talk about her child wherever And any discussion happens, she'll bring about topics of her child. Why? Because she is very strongly attached to the child. And that's the same thing. Bhav Bhakta devotees, they have a strong attachment to Krishna, and that is why they have a strong attachment to description of the transcendental qualities of the Lord also. And then the last symptom 9 is Priti Tadavasati Sthale. That means they have affection for those places where the Lord resides. For the devotees at Bhava Bhakta stage, they don't have to they don't have to be told to go to a place of pilgrimage, a holy place, or to go to the temple. It just naturally happens. They cannot stay without going to the temple, without seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, or going to Vrindavan, going to Navadvip, going to Ayodhya Dham, other important places of pilgrimage, because they have very strong attachment to living in the dham. Living in the dham could be staying in uh, the places, the cities where Krishna enacted his pastimes, as well as going to temple. That is also a very holy place. So these are the 9 symptoms of ecstatic, the signs of ecstatic emotion that the devotees feel. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. So it's very important to know these 9 symptoms, because as I mentioned earlier, these 9 symptoms, they cannot be concealed and they cannot be copied also. They cannot be imitated. They are very, very important symptoms. Okay. Now let's go to 20. Krishnamurti Prabhu, want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeyi nava priti ankura yanra chitte haya prakrita kshobetana kshobanahi aya. Hare Krishna. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. If love for Krishna in a seeding state is fructified in one's heart, one is not agitated by material things. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. So when the devotee has reached the stage where the seedling, love for Krishna in a seedling state has now fructified, it's a very advanced stage, then one is not agitated by material things. So whatever is happening around them, they become very oblivious to the surroundings. Now, this does not mean that they stop caring about others. No, in fact, they care more about others' happiness and others' distress. But for themselves, they don't become agitated. So that's why, devotees, if somebody says some unkind words also to them, or if they behave in a very negative manner towards the devotee is least bothered about these things because they're oblivious about their surroundings. There was one incident where Srila Prabhupada was in a temple in Europe somewhere, and somehow the temple, it was recently started, so things were very mismanaged. And that, so Prabhupada, because he's the acharya, he has to teach his disciples. So Prabhupada got a little angry, angry at the devotees, and he said a few things to correct them. And at this time, there was a new person who had just started coming to the temple, and who was just learning about Krishna consciousness. He didn't know who Prabhupada was. He didn't know Prabhupada's exalted position. But he just saw that this person is getting angry. So he came and he told Prabhupada, why are you getting so angry? You should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He was saying this to Prabhupada, who had actually given us this Mahamantra. Now, any normal person, their reaction could be, you are telling me to chant? I am the one who has given this mantra. I am the guru here. Any normal person would have reacted like that. But what did Prabhupada say? He said yes. And immediately he started chanting Hare Krishna mantra. See, because Prabhupada was not actually angry. He had to show anger because he had to correct his disciples and teach them the right way. But he was not actually angry. So that's the thing that happens. When Prabhupada was staying in Vrindavan with very basic, very basic living conditions, still, he was the same Prabhupada. Then, when he went to New York, he was staying alone in very difficult conditions. Still, he was the same Prabhupada. And then, when he became the Acharya of this worldwide movement, he was still the same Prabhupada. It's not like Prabhupada's behavior changed when the circumstances around him changed. So, the pure devotees are least bothered about what is happening in their surroundings for themselves. They are not agitated by material things. That is a very important characteristic of a devotee. Next, 21. Swati Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, sir. तामोपयतां प्रतियन्तु विप्रा गङ्गा च देवी धृतचित्तमीशे द्विजोपसृष्टः कुहकस्तक्षको वा द्रष्टौ अलं गातया विष्णुगति गताः. Translation. O Brahmanas, just accept me as completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Can I read purport?
Yes, Mataji, please.
This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.19.15 spoken by Maharaj Parikshit while he was sitting on the bank of river Ganges expecting to be bitten by snake bird summoned by the curse of a Brahmana boy named Shringi, who was the son of great sage named Shamika. The news of the curse was conveyed to the king, who prepared for his imminent death. Many saintly persons, sages, Brahmanas, kings, and demigods came to see him in his last days. Maharaja Parikshit, however, was not at all afraid of being bitten by the snake bird. Indeed, he requested all the great personalities assembled to continue chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, thank you, Mataji. So this verse is spoken by Maharaj Parikshit, and in this verse we see how fearless he was, right? I mean, sorry, getting to know that he had just 7 days to live, and this Takshak is going to come and bite him. It was a very fearful situation, but this is his, his advanced nature as a devotee. He was completely fearless. What is he saying? He's saying that just accept me as a completely surrendered soul and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. That's what he's telling the Brahmanas. Because why is he fearless? Because he has taken the lotus feet of the Lord in his heart. He has taken complete shelter of the Lord. And he's saying that let that snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana has created, let it come, let it bite me. I just desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. That is all he is desiring. And where is he? He's sitting on the bank of the Ganga. He's expecting that, in 7 days the snake bird is going to come and bite him. And this was a curse of Shringi, the son of Shamika. And this news of imminent death had been conveyed to him. And after this, many great saintly persons, sages, brahmanas from the entire universe, kings, demigods, they all came to see him in his last days. But Maharaj Parikshit is not at all afraid. He's he's very strong, and he's feeling very confident of his position because he has taken shelter of Krishna. What is he desiring? He is desiring that the great personalities just continue chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu. So that is a very strong, fearless position that Maharaj Parikshit is taking. 22nd verse, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare
Dandat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Then
Krishna Sambandha Vina Kala Vyartha Nahi Aya. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Not a moment should be lost. Every moment should be utilized for Krishna or connected with Him. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you can read the purport also.
Okay, Mataji. Purport. Maharaja Parikshit's expression of anxiety is explained in this verse. He says, let whatever is destined to happen take place. It doesn't matter. Just let me see that not a moment of my time is wasted without a relationship with Krishna. One has to tolerate all obstacles on the path of Krishna consciousness, and one has to see that not a moment of his life is wasted outside of Krishna's service. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. So the previous verse we saw about the fearlessness, how the devotee is fearless, and now we are seeing how they don't waste any moment. And here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that what was Maharaj Parikshit's anxiety? His anxiety was not that, oh, I'm going to die, I'm going to be separated from my family, from my kingdom, and from all the, all the Aishwarya that I had. That's not his anxiety. His anxiety is that, okay, let whatever happen, happen. But anxiety is that not a moment of time should be wasted without a relationship with Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj did not eat, drink anything. He was not, he was not willing to waste even a second without a relationship with Krishna. So that is how the devotees utilize their time. And Prabhupada explains that one has to tolerate all the obstacles on the path of Krishna consciousness, and one has to see that not a moment of his life is wasted outside of Krishna's service. Okay, so very, very important teaching Prabhupada is giving us. Okay. Now let's go to 23. Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
वाग्विक्स्तुवन्तो मनसा स्मरन्तस्त्वन्मानमन्तो अपि अनिशं न तृप्ताः भक्ता श्रवन् नेत्रजलासमग्रम् आयुर्हरे इव समर्पयन्ति. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. With their words, they offer praise to the Lord. With their mind, they always remember the Lord. With their bodies, they offer obeisances to the Lord. Despite all these activities, they are still not satisfied. This is the nature of pure devotees. Shedding tears from their eyes, they dedicate their whole lives to the Lord's service. This is a purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is a verse from the Hari Bhakta Subhodhaya is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.2. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, what are the further symptoms of these devotees? With their words, they offer prayers to the Lord. With their mind, they always remember the Lord. With their bodies, they offer obeisances to the Lord. So nothing is getting wasted. It's not like they are all doing service with their hands, but mind is somewhere else. No, their words, their minds, their body, everything is engaged in service of the Lord. But it's not like they are doing this and then they are content. No, they want more and more of this, and that is why they are still not satisfied. And when we read this verse, we are reminded of Maharaj Ambrish. And Maharaj Ambrish, he was using every part of his body in Krishna's service. He was, like we read earlier also, now that he was rendering service, or in all the 9 devotional activities he was doing for Krishna. And yet, at 50, he wanted to leave the world and go to the forest so that he could do more bhakti. No, he was already doing, so much bhakti. He was using everything for Krishna's service. He was not satisfied. But the devotees, they are still not satisfied. That is the nature of pure devotees. Shedding tears from their eyes, they dedicate their whole lives to the Lord's service. So for them, it's not like, oh, 16 rounds are done, that's enough for today. No, they're not satisfied with just 16 rounds. They will constantly chant, okay, this service is done, they look for some more service. More, this preaching program is done, more preaching programs. In this way, they are not satisfied with the service they are performing. Okay. Now let's go to 24. Swati Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Correct.
Bhakti Siddhi Indriyartha Tare Nahi Bhaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the material field, people are interested in material enjoyment, mystic power, and sense gratifications. These things do not appeal to the devotee at all. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So in the material world, we see people are interested in material enjoyment, satisfying their senses, sense gratification, or getting siddhis like mystic power. But these things do not appeal to the devotee at all. The devotee is not running after material enjoyment, sense gratification, or getting siddhis. The devotee just wants to please Krishna. That is the only desire. So these things, these materialistic things, do not appeal to the devotee at all. Now let's go to 25. Sudha Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Yo दुष्ट्यजान् दारसुतान् सुहृद्राज्यं रतिस्पर्शः जाहौ वयं मलावद Uttama Shloka Lalasaha. Translation by Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Bharata was very eager to attain the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is called Uttama Shloka because poems and prayers are offered to him for his favor. In his youth, King Bharata gave up his attractive wife and children, as well as his beloved friends and opulent kingdom, just as one gives up stool after passing it. Purport by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. These are the signs of virakti, detachment, found in a person who has developed bhava, the preliminary stage of love of Godhead. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 5.14.43. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. The very graphical example given here, how Maharaj Bharat gave up his attractive wife and children, as well as his beloved friends and opulent kingdom, just as one gives a stool after passing it. So he was not looking back and getting attached and trying to detach himself. No, for him it happened very naturally. He just wanted to glorify Krishna. He wanted to completely absorb himself in service of Krishna, and so it was his youth only. He was not like he was an old person and then he gave up his family life. In his young age itself, he gave up everything and went to the forest. So it is mentioned here that he was very eager to attain the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when that desire to get Krishna is so strong, then the devotee just wants to do whatever is possible, and they don't stop. So that's what Bharat Maharaj did. And Prabhupada is explaining that these are the signs of virakti, that means detachment, and they are found in a person who has developed bhav. Okay, it's a very advanced stage, and this having this kind of detachment is also very, very great. Next verse, Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarvatama apana ke hina kari mane. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although a pure devotee standard is above all, he still considers himself to be in the lowest stage of life. Hare Krishna.
So the consciousness of the devotee is that they still consider themselves very, very meek, right? They take a very humble and meek position. It's not that, because the devotee will get appreciation, they will get fame, people will try to follow them, people will try to serve them, but they are not after all these things. They still consider themselves in the lowest stage of life. They are not, they don't get enamored by all these external things. Okay. Now let's go to 27. Yeah, Mataji, you want to read?
Yes,
Lalita,
yes,
yeah, please read.
Haraudatim bahan esha narendranam shikamanihi bhiksham atan aripure swapakam api vandate. Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Bhagirath always carried affection for Krishna within his heart. Although King Bhagirath was the crown jewel of kings, he was still wandering about and begging alms in the city of his enemies. He was even offering respects to Chandalas, low-class men who eat dogs. Perfect. This is the quotation from the Padma Purana. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So Maharaj Bhagirath, he was the crown king, but he was taking a very, very humble position and offering respect to chandalas, low-class men who eat dogs. We just read about it, but actually giving respect to them is not very easy, and to actually genuinely give them respect is very, very difficult. When Prabhupada brought his Western disciples to India, they had all become brahmanas, right? Their habits were very pure, but people were not looking at that. People were just thinking that, oh, they are all chandalas, they are all meat eating people coming from the Western world. We are brahmanas by birth. So many people did not accept those disciples of Prabhupada, and even said negative things about them. But that really greatly upset Prabhupada, and Prabhupada very strongly took the side of his disciples. There was one incident in somewhere in Gujarat where one Mataji was reciting the Ishopnishad, a Western-bodied Mataji, and she had memorized the entire Ishopnishad and she recited all the verses. And then someone in the audience said that, her pronunciation is not correct. Swamiji or disciples, their pronunciation is not perfect. Then what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said that, okay, maybe their pronunciation is not perfect, but their renunciation is perfect. So Prabhupada always protected his disciples because he knew that they had taken to Krishna consciousness, and then the external body did not really matter. And that's why when one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness, they respect even the Chandalas, Mlechas, etc. Now let's go to 28. Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji Pranam. Krishna Kripa Kari Vena Drida Kari Jane. Translation by Jivan Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A fully surrendered devotee always hopes that Lord Krishna will be kind to him. This hope is very firm in him. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this Asha Bandha, the devotee is always hopeful that, okay, no matter what, no matter how many shortcomings I have, Krishna will be kind. Krishna is very, very kind. This hope is very firm in the heart of the devotee. Next, 29, Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
na
Prabhu,
prema swara
Shravanadi.
na prema श्रवणादि भक्तेर अपि वा योगाता वा वैष्णवो जन्मनां वा शुभा कर्म वा कियद् अहो सज्जतिर् अपि अस्ति वा हिनार्थदिका साधके त्वपि तथापि अच्छेद्य मूलसति हे गोपी जनवल्लभा Vetayate ahamat asaivaman. Mataji, if you don't mind, please, I want to hear this verse from your voice.
Yeah, actually, Prabhu, this we cannot really put it into any meter because it's all Sanskrit words. So we'll have to read it like this only, Prabhu.
Okay. Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Oh my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing. Nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge or pious activities. Nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because you have bestowed your mercy on the most fallen, I am an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. That hope is always giving me pain. Purport by Prabhupada ki jai. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.35. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is the mood of the devotee that I do not have any love for you, even though they have a lot of love for Krishna, they have pure love, but they say that I don't have any love, I am not qualified to do any seva or to chant or to hear, I don't have any mystic power of a Vaishnava, any knowledge, any pious activities, I do not belong to a very high family. So basically, they're saying, on the whole, I do not possess anything. That's how a devotee really feels, that they don't possess anything, even though they are so great, so advanced, they have so many good qualities, but they always feel that they do not possess anything. Still they say that, oh beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen, I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart. So they have very strong faith in Krishna's kindness, in Krishna's mercy. That hope is always giving me pain. Why is hope giving pain? Because this is like, the Brajvasis. They had this hope that Krishna is going to return. So that is why they were facing that pain of separation. Now they could not give up their lives because Krishna had promised that he will come. So they did not want to be dead by the time Krishna comes. They wanted to be alive when Krishna comes. But that pain of separation, that hope of meeting Krishna was there. And that separation from Krishna was causing them a lot of pain. That is the actual, pain that the pure devotees feel. They're not pained by the material problems. They are pained because of separation from Krishna. Okay. Now let's read 30th verse. Chandana Mataji, what we?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pramudkantahaya sadalala sapradhana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This eagerness is chiefly characterized by an ardent desire to associate with their Lord. Thank you, Mataji.
So they have this eagerness, they have this very strong desire to meet the Lord, to associate with the Lord, to serve the Lord. Okay. Let's go to the next verse, 31. Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Mataji, can you scroll down? Praksheshavaam tribhuvanadbhutamiti avehi makchapalam cha tavava mama vadigamyam tatkim karomi viralamura murali vilasi mugdam mukambujam udikshitum ikshanabhyam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O Krishna, O flute player, the sweetness of your early age is wonderful within these three worlds. You know the unsteadiness, and I know yours. No one else knows about this. I want to see your beautiful, attractive face somewhere in a solitary place. But how can this?
But how can this be accomplished? This is a verse from the Krishna Karnamrita.
Sorry, Mataji, it was muted.
Okay. So Bilva Mangal Thakur has sung this verse where he's saying that Krishna, flute player, sweetness of your early age is wonderful within these three worlds. You know my unsteadiness and I know yours. No one else knows about this. So this is that sweet interaction between the devotee and Krishna. And he's saying that I want to see your beautiful, attractive face somewhere in a solitary place. But how can this be accomplished? So this is that desire, where only in the meeting with Krishna, seeing Krishna's attractive face, that becomes the sole desire that the devotee has. 32. Swati Mataji, you want to be?
Yes, Mataji. Nama Gane Sadaruchi Laya Krishna Nama. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Due to having great relish for the holy name, one is inclined to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra constantly. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So they have now started relishing the Mahamantra, the chanting, and that is why they want to chant constantly. See, in the initial stages, we chant because we have to follow the order, of the spiritual master. We have to follow keep the promise that we have given to chant. But it doesn't come very naturally. But in the bhava stage, they want to chant constantly. The devotees want to chant constantly. Yeah, Krishnamurti Prabhu, want to read this?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Rodana bindu maranda Sandi drik indi Mataji indi vargya govinda tava maduraswara kanti gayate nama vilambala. I am not up to the mark. I'm sorry, Mataji. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki Jai. O Govinda, this youthful girl named Radhika is today constantly pouring forth tears like nectar falling from flowers as she sings your holy names in a sweet voice. This purport, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, this verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.38. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. So this is Nam Gane Sadaruchi, that characteristic, Nam Gane Sadaruchi, and Radha Rani's example is given here, that constantly pouring forth tears like nectar falling from flowers as she sings your holy names in a sweet voice. Such love is there in her heart that she's constantly singing, and with that there's outpour of emotion, and she's crying out of that love for Krishna. Now let's read 34. Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Krishna Guna Nehaya Sarvada Asakti. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At this stage of bhava, a devotee has awakened the tendency to chant and describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He has attachment for this process. Thank you, Mataji. Dandapranam.
So at this stage of bhav, their tendency to chant is awakened and the tendency to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He has attachment for this process. So for chanting, glorifying Krishna, they have attachment for this process. Okay. Padma Mataji, 35th. Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji.
No, Mataji, somebody else can. I find difficult this one.
Okay. Chandana Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. मधुरं मधुरं वपुरस्य विभोर् मधुरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं मधुगन्धि मृदुस्मितम् एतदाहो मधुरं 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 मधुरं. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mataji, is there any meter to say this verse? It's so beautiful, but I didn't get it properly.
But I also didn't hear it in any meter from devotees. I
No, and I felt it's very easy. Nice verse, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O my Lord, the transcendental body of Krishna is very sweet and his face is even sweeter than his body. But his soft smile, which has the fragrance of honey, is sweetest. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is a verse quoted from Bilvamangala Thakura's Krishna Karnamrita 92. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Krishna's form, his face, his smile, his body, everything is just sweet, sweet, sweet. That's why Bilvamangal Thakur is using Madhuram, Madhuram again and again. That is the ecstasy of a devotee. The same word coming again and again because, he can't describe it enough how sweet Krishna is. Everything about Krishna is sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay. Now let's read 36. Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji Pranam. Krishna Lila Sthane Kare Sarvada Vasati. Translation by His Divine Will Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A devotee absorbed in ecstatic emotion for Krishna always resides in a place where Krishna's pastimes were performed. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So they are absorbed in ecstatic emotion for Krishna and they always want to reside in places where Krishna's pastimes are performed, that the Lila Sthalis. Parmeshwari Mataji, 37.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Kadakam Yamuna Dire Namani Dava Hridayan Ubashpaga Pundarikaksha Rakshyashyami Dandavam. Sorry, Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, Pundarik Aksha, while chanting your holy name with tears in my eyes, when shall I dance in ecstasy on the bank of the Yamuna? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.156. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So Yamuna Tirayam, on the bank of the Yamuna, that is also a holy place. So that is the desire of the devotee, to reside and to sing and dance in holy places. Right? One example of Yamuna Tira is given here. Now, last verse for today, 38. Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Tira Chinai Kailum Vivarana. Krishna Tira Chinna Ebeshuna Sanatana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. These are the symptoms of a person who has developed attraction, bhava for Krishna. Now let me describe the symptoms of a person who is actually elevated to love of Krishna. Oh Sanatana, please hear this from me. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti stage, Bhava Bhakti stage were described till this point, and now, the prema stage symptoms are going to be described. So that's what the Lord is saying, that let me describe the symptoms of a person who is actually elevated to love of Krishna. That is going to come from verse 39 onwards. So today we read about these symptoms of Bhav Bhakti stage, and we discussed that there are external symptoms like crying, shivering, etc., which can be easily imitated or even concealed. But then the 9 symptoms are the internal symptoms, which can neither be concealed or they can neither be imitated. So through those symptoms, one can test whether one is actually, actually a real devotee who has reached the bhav stage, or one is just an imposter or a sahajya. Okay, so very, very important verses that we discussed today. If there are any questions or any comments.
Hare Krishna Mataji, wonderful learning for us, Mataji, that
Yes,
we should
Mataji.
not waste time at all. It's a lot
Yes.
of learning.
Yeah,
Today's
wonderful
session.
explanation today, Mataji. Really
That-
very nice. Thank you,
Mataji, all
Mataji.
glory to Srila Prabhupada that he gave us
Mataji,
the Yes,
Mataji,
Mataji.
sometimes certain bhajans, I mean, certain, kirtans, and when you keep on hearing, then you become a little emotional, It's not that you want to show us something, sometimes you cannot control. Then what is it? What is that?
Yeah, Mataji, that is very natural. See, because we
Natural,
have,
no?
yeah, that is natural, and it's actually nice. It's just that when we are, in an assembly of devotees, then generally the pure devotees, they don't show these symptoms too
Yeah,
much. Yeah,
yes.
but when we are with the Lord, and see, devotees explain that we have lot of things in our heart. The world, so many things have happened. So many things have happened in this life, previous lives. We carry that baggage in ourselves. But when we are in the presence of the Lord and His pure name, and the bhav of the devotee who has written that bhajan is so pure that we do tend to get emotional sometimes.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that the actual bhav stage where that real tear for
Yes.
Krishna, that is a
Yes.
very advanced stage.
Yeah, yeah.
But if we are feeling connected to that bhajan, then that is also a very positive thing. We can get inspiration from the mood of the bhajan.
Yes. Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Okay, so thank you all so much for
Hare Krishna.
joining. Vancha kalpatrubhya Srida Naam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
Ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam, Mataji.
Dandavat pranam.